Hey y'all, it's July, I don't know, the 24th, maybe, 2018, 23rd, 24th. I wanted to holler at y'all real briefly because I gotta go and get some things done, and I gotta eat. But I wanted to holler at y'all. I was doing some investigations, some research, especially directed into the Holocaust classroom in reference to the Parkland shooting, Florida, and all that. The Holocaust classroom was 1214, I believe, around 1214. Anyways, I was, doing research. I was getting stuff together. I want to know who was all in that class, who's the ones that got shot, who didn't got shot, who got killed, this and that. And I, was able to figure that all out. I'm reading different various articles. One I saw with the New York Times, and they're going through it. You'll easily find if you type in New York Times Holocaust classroom, it's going to pop right up. It comes in its detail in the whole thing, and it got me inspired to touch on a couple of bases with y'all. Now, these are things that my commenters, for one, have touched on already or talked about before, but I just want to emphasize a couple of key notes. All right, freshman building, we know what it is. We know what it looks like. All right, we know the format. It's only two ways out of that building. Two ways in, two ways out, unless you're considering the windows. All right, so two ways in, two ways out of a building. All right, I want you to consider this. This was a situation that took place. The carnage in and of itself took place about 7 minutes. Everybody agrees. All right, so for about 7 minutes, I want you to consider this. It's a building. It's only got two ways in and two ways out. All right, it's on a campus at a school who has practiced some sort of code red drills before. Like, they're very much in preparation in an unprecedented way. They are in preparations for code reds. They're code red drilling. So we're considering a building. It only has two entrances, two exits. All right. How long do you figure it would take to figure out that they're shooting and it's going on in a particular building? All right. Say if you're outside the building or things of that nature, maybe you're inside the building, maybe you're right adjacent to the building, maybe you're in the building next to the building. How long is it going to take to figure out that shooting? How long is it going to take for someone to get on a walkie-talkie or a telephone and tell somebody, hey, look, it's code red, man, people are shooting up in the building? Is it going to take a whole minute? Do you think it would take a whole minute to figure out somebody shooting up that particular building? Probably it wouldn't. The thing is, that doesn't sound like a long time, but a minute while people are getting shot up, 60 seconds of people getting shot up is an excruciating long time, right? So you would have to imagine there was a call made. Somebody told somebody said code red drill, or code red something. They said code red, and they said that within a minute, probably. Now, you have a Jalen Martin, who's sort of a witness. He wasn't in that building, but he was on campus that day. And he explained where he was at in relation to the shooting in the building. So, Jalen Martin, the way he testifies is the fire alarm went off. All right. And so they evacuated the portables, and then within a minute, saw the police on the campus. Now, like I said, it's a campus, and they're practicing code red drills. All right, they're in tandem with the sheriff's office, and I don't even know who else. All right, but they're working with the sheriff's office, doing code red drills to make sure everybody's safe. All right, talk about it. There's rumors of it. Everybody knows there's a secret drill that's going to happen real soon. All right, so it's a building where shooting's going down. The shooting itself lasts 7 whole minutes. You know how long 1 minute is during a shooting? It's a long time. So I don't know why, but the police are on campus, according to Jalen, within a minute of the fire alarm going off, whenever, depending on when it went off, I guess. So they're on the campus within a minute. How many minutes does it take? Y'all practice code red drills. How many minutes does it take for you to get to that building, know that a shooting is going on in that building, and, for instance, close off both exits? Make sure ain't nobody getting in and out of that building. All right. Like for instance, if I was in charge of that thing, man, I would have drills where, people figure out, okay, narrow down where's the shooting. You close off that building. If it's the freshman building, it's only 2 ways in, 2 ways out. You close off both those exits. You send everybody else in to get that shooter. Period. And then you ID people. Here's the thing: the article, the New York Times article, it's talking about the police eventually busted in the doors, cracked open the windows, and easily let themselves into those doors. All right. So once they did that, in particular in the Holocaust class, but you would imagine in every other class, they bust in, they say, hey, put your hands up. We need to know who you are. We need to know who you are. And they'll take the teachers, whatever, they'll ID them. It says so in the article. They want to know who you are. All right? And they certainly want to know if you're the shooter. Of course, the teacher is not going to be harboring the shooter. That doesn't make any sense. All right, so they bust in the classrooms, they ID the teacher and stuff like this. They tell the students, what, put your hands up, walk out the classroom. As soon as you get out the building, you start running for your life. That is a protocol in it. That is a protocol. Okay, so obviously it took them more than 7 minutes to get to both doors and close off both exits because, you have the alleged shooter and he gets out. So they didn't do that. Well, let's think about this. They're IDing everybody. They're kicking in the doors, stuff like this. And then they're telling them to run. All right? You have to understand that nobody, no class for that matter, evacuated the building on the first floor. All right? They did not have enough time to think it was a fire drill. They were too busy getting shot up. So no classroom on the first floor, that would have been straight impossible. Would they evacuate that building? They didn't do so until their doors were kicked in by the police and they were told to leave. So they stayed put. Let me tell you something else. You hear the stories from the third story of the building, the third floor. You hear those stories and you realize, well, people thought it was a fire drill, but eventually they figured it out. Didn't take long to figure out there's shooting going on under them. All right. So that's on the third floor. So if you take those into consideration, you know for a fact that it's not one classroom that left out of that building without knowing that there's a shooter. They absolutely know. If they even got out because they're not showcased to you on the animations that we've been given. You know what I'm saying? If any of the classrooms ever got out of that building, they knew for certain. They knew in their bones that there was a shooter in that school and they were evacuating, period. All right? They knew that. So if you consider the animation, they must have sneaked out. Maybe as Nicholas was going up one staircase, maybe they went down the other staircase, sneaked out. There wasn't nobody on the first floor got out of there. They all stayed put. They did not know what to do. Right? That's the story we've been told. Did not know what to do. Third floor is kind of the same. The second floor, that's a total mystery, isn't it? It's all mysterious. Maybe some classrooms from the second floor got out and evacuated the building. If so, that's going to be well documented. I want to see those documents, please. Nobody's brought that to light in y'all's government media. Nobody's brought that to light. Which classrooms left out that building? All right, and then consider this. Those classrooms leaving out the building, they knew there was a shooter, right? So Nicholas Cruz was not going to blend in with them. Please believe. That wouldn't have happened. Remember the animation said Nicholas Cruz spent some time alone in a classroom just thinking to himself and stuff. Everybody would have already straight evacuated. There wasn't nobody evacuating from the third floor. They were too busy getting shot up. They didn't evacuate. Maybe people on the second floor evacuated. In that case, man, Nicholas Cruz did not blend in with nobody. Remember? Because we're talking about, 7, 8, 9, 10 minutes in. Shouldn't you have both exits blocked off? Shouldn't you know who's leaving out there? All right? So basically what I'm getting at is straight impossible. And if it was possible, people extremely dropped the ball super hard. Super hard. But instead, what's more feasible is lies, like a mountain of lies that honestly, I don't know if we're ever get to the bottom of because it's so big. It's probably the biggest mountain of lies that I've ever seen in my life. All right, that's what we've been shoveled into our mouths. All right. Meanwhile, they're practicing code red drills. They have not a clue what to do. They have no idea. They didn't have no idea. They should all be fired or worse. All right, y'all. It's July 23rd, 24th, 2018, and I do appreciate all y'all. Every last one of you. And you know who you are.